every year the USPS increases its rates. So you got to be aware of when the rate increase is coming, know exactly how much your packages are going to weigh. So you want to figure all of that out in advance. And if you're offering something as a pre-order, you're taking payment and shipping later, you got to make sure that you're not pricing your postage based on the old rates, but you're going to have to buy it after the new rates hit.
Hello and welcome to the Small Business Sewing Podcast. Join host Kathleen, that's me, from Sunny Mountain Patterns, and Brandon from Daily Sews and Stuff, and guest experts as we discuss how to run successful sewing businesses, innovations in sewing, and ways to make more money doing what you love. Hello, today we're talking with Josh Schwartz about mailing massive amounts of swag from home. Josh is the lead guitarist for regional East Coast band, A Sound of Thunder, which recently had a viral music video for the metal version of El Segadores, and is the manager behind mailing thousands of packages of swag, or maybe even more than that, for A Sound of Thunder's band Kickstarter campaigns from home. He also happens to be probably the only guest we have that has a Wikipedia page. I checked yesterday. So welcome, Josh. Thanks for being with us.
Wait a minute. I have my own Wikipedia page?
Well, no. You coattail on Nina's. Sorry.
Okay.
Nina's
gotcha.
The lead singer for their band. You're mentioned in the Wikipedia
that
page. How about that?
All right. That's good enough.
That is pretty cool, though. So will you kind of tell us your story and, she sort of covered it, but how you came about shipping out so many packages?
Yeah, sure thing. So we've been around for 10 years. We're an independent metal band. And, we kind of came up during the death of the old school music industry. And, this is well covered territory for us on music interviews and stuff. But for the general audience, most people for their music consumption have moved to streaming. There's not as much record label support for as many bands, especially new bands, to get physical product like CDs or vinyl records, T-shirts, that kind of thing out directly to people. And also there's just not as much margin in the music industry for bands anymore. So for a lot of young bands like us, being independent has become a lot more attractive. You don't need a record label to get your music to people because everybody's got Spotify. And if people want physical stuff, everybody's got the internet pretty much. So we did mess around with the record label at one point early on, and it didn't really work for us. So we decided to go back to being independent. And at that point, we discovered Kickstarter, which is where we've had most of our success, building up an audience. And for music, the special thing about our audience is it's a loyal, returning audience that will buy physical media in an age where most people aren't buying physical media anymore. So as we built our audience but remained independent, we started shipping a lot more CDs, vinyl records, T-shirts. We expanded and we were into comic books now, patches, pins, stickers, pretty much hats, anything you can think of. All the typical kind of merchandise that any big band would have, really, we ship on our own now. And so being independent, that means pretty much me having everything necessary to, from having the merchandise stored here at my house, to the packing supplies, to the, the label and the scale set up and everything you need pretty much. And we're sitting here in an extra bedroom that I've been lucky enough to be able to keep as a comic book room, which is set up with a bunch of open top comic books. But what you'll notice about that is that it's all flat surfaces. So the real reason that we've been able to keep it is because those are flat surfaces that I can cover with plywood or flat boxes, and then I use it as my prep area. So this is my assembly line, basically, when I'm putting a lot of packages out in the mail.
So for those of you actually listening to the podcast, Josh might have a few comic books.
Yeah. There's like one or two behind him.
75.
Being sarcastic, he's got 75 out of like 100
boxes. It's about
filled with comic books.
I see 10 boxes without even looking.
Yeah, it goes all the way. It goes all the way back. It's about 20,000 comic books in here.
Yeah, so it's a lot.
But they're all in the same size boxes, and it's all set up. So I've got basically 1, 2, 3, 4 6-foot-long tables with flat surfaces that I use as my setup area.
So that might be
the merch, the boxes, everything.
That may be a consideration if you are short on space, but you also need to store your fabric. Get boxes like what Josh has, where they're all the same height. Then you can just put a plywood on top of it and use that as your work surface for when you need to start shipping things out. So you can double up on storage space.
Yeah, keeping everything uniform was huge. So I can, even though it's not in one long straight line, I can just kind of scoot around the edges of it, and it's like one long assembly line for me.
So Josh, how many packages of swag have you mailed out approximately?
Well, I mean, over 10 years, it's been ramping up, and I don't know, at this point, it's probably over 10,000, but
yeah, I was wrong in the thousands.
For the most recent album that we just put out, there was about 1,000 pre-orders. So the heaviest week I had was like, I had to get 300 out in 1 week, which was, on some campaigns that would be doable. I could do 300 in a couple days. This was a more complicated campaign, which had a lot of different products that had to go in different size boxes. And also we offer autograph options on every single item. So on this one, it became impossible to bulk pack anything. Every single box was packed per each customer's specific requests, basically, which is not so great if speed is important to you. So,
well, that's something a lot of sewers are going to be doing, because either you're doing ready to sell, but you still have to package it, make sure you have the right size, the right color combination, the right pattern, or the right outfit, or you're doing a pre-order and you have to custom for not everyone's going to order unless you're making something that's a one size fit all. Not everyone's going to buy like a size 12-month romper.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
You got to kind of think ahead, and like before we do a campaign or unleash new products on the world, I'll sit down and just try to game the whole thing out in my head, and then go to a pad of paper. And I probably have 25 different shipping containers in the other room, from boxes to garment bags, the poster tubes, and it can really bog you down if you don't have everything you need when you need it. So I try to game that all out in advance and have all the different packaging materials here.
So that sounds like a really easily transferable tip. I mean, to already plan out in your head the space that you're going to use and the things that you're going to need, and make sure that you have it all gathered, so that when you are ready to ship something, you're not having to go, oh, got to run over to the store and go get whatever it is, or I need to order this from Amazon or from the UPS store or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you will probably want to order in bulk as much as makes sense, depending on how many orders you have to send out. But if you have to go to Staples to buy packing supplies, that's way more expensive than getting them from a packaging supply company.
Like what is that one called? It starts with a U.
Yeah, we don't use that one anymore because we personally found their ethics objectionable. We did use them for a long time, and they do have good products. So we spent a lot of last year looking for alternative companies to order from.
And what did you land on?
A mixture. I mean, the U company is real. I mean, honestly, their products are really good, and they have everything. We used a company called East Coast Package. It's either East Coast Package or East Coast Packaging. And then Paper Mart, I believe, was one of them. And we went, actually, for the first time, we went to a company called Fantastipack, and we spent a little more to do our own printed boxes. So I don't know if you can see that. This was one of the sizes. We actually had 4 sizes of these with our most recent album. But this is just part of the branding. We want people to feel like it's Christmas morning when the package shows up on the doorstep.
By the way, if you can't see this, it is a completely wrapped box. I mean, it's not wrapped. It's wrapped in their bands.
Yeah, it's a full color printed box with full color painted art all the way around the box.
That is amazing.
And we have a small plug here we have an episode with Naomi Pratt where we have talked about print and packaging, and we will actually have her back to talk about that more later. Usually,
we try to price our shipping and handling like pretty close to the actual cost, but there's enough margin where people don't mind that this printed box cost us maybe an extra $1 to $1.50 over and above the cost of just a non-printed box. So it's pretty easy to build in that cost so it's covered. And then, I think the branding goes a long way. And, I try and put myself in a fan's perspective. So for somebody with another business, it's, you put yourself in the perspective of your customer and just what do they think would be cool, So try to make it not all about function, but about an experience. So from the moment that package lands in their mailbox or on their doorstep, the experience starts, and then they get to kind of do their own unboxing.
Right, especially if you're making some high-end, like custom-made things, you have a bit more wiggle room to have higher priced packaging to make it look presentable. You want to justify the cost of what you're sending them. So if you're making like $40 or $60, $70 children's outfits because they're made out of 100% linen, whatever, you want to make sure that the packaging looks good too, so they get excited when they get it and then they can share with their friends. Oh, I got this really awesome thing.
Yeah. For us, like this package went out USPS priority mail and we charged everybody a flat $10 for the shipping. For a lot of people on the East Coast to the Midwest, that actually costs about $7.50 to $8.50 in postage, which left us, $2.50 to $1.50 to cover the box. And then some people on the West Coast that'll actually cost $10 in postage, but it kind of evens out where nobody's going to pay that much of a difference, that much attention to $1 difference in the postage. And it allows us to cover the cool packaging.
How do you handle sending something like that to international people?
Well, no differently, really, other than we use USPS first class international if it's under 4 pounds. And when we upload those labels, we upload them in a batch from a CSV file, a spreadsheet. And on an international label, you have to have the customs information. So you just list off what's in the box and the approximate value and the weight of each item. But as far as packaging, no difference. Make sure everything's packaged pretty tightly with enough fill in there so nothing's going to slide around and get damaged.
So what's your general workflow for packaging, addressing, and mailing out that many packages?
If I'm in a bulk situation, so for instance, in our business, we get a huge influx of orders when we put out a new product. So we put a new album out and I had, about 1,000 orders to get out in short succession. And then the rest of the year, the orders trickle in, and that may be anywhere from just 1 or 2 orders a week to 20 or 30, depending on if we're running a promotion or anything like that. So when I have a lot of orders to get out in short succession, I'll upload a spreadsheet. So the first thing I'll do is, now this is assuming I know what I'm selling and I've already weighed the packages. If you haven't done that yet, you need to weigh the packages and get the measurements. But you really want to do that before you're even selling anything, because you need to know how much your postage is going to cost to charge accordingly. But assuming I know the weights and the measurements and everything, the very first thing I'll do is I'll download all my orders, and I'm preparing to upload a spreadsheet to Pirate Ship, who is the postage website that we use. That's where we buy our postage. And one step that I've learned over the years is that you can download your spreadsheet from wherever your orders are coming from and upload it directly to where you're buying your postage, but you need to proofread that spreadsheet because errors will flow through, especially if you have any special characters. So for instance, we have a lot of orders coming from Catalonia in Spain, and there's special characters, or also Germany. Umlauts will screw up the formatting sometimes, or accents, or whatever they call the little hook under the C in Catalonia. Those will screw up your formatting, and also special characters in like Scandinavian countries. So I've got to scan through all the addresses and get those errors out before I upload the spreadsheet. But once I've got the spreadsheet clean, then I upload it to Pirate Ship and I bulk buy our postage. I'll generally do that one product at a time or one package at a time. So for instance, I said earlier, there were 4 sizes of this printed box we did for our new record. So I'll do all of one size, print those all out. And then I'll set up my my assembly line just for that one package. So I don't have to have every single product out. I just get out the products that go in that one package. And then I have that one box at the end of or near the end of the assembly line. So I don't have all the different size boxes out. And I just, once I'm into the assembly line portion, I try to keep it as simple as possible. Only have out exactly what you need and make it as easy as possible to go down the line, boom, 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 and put everything together.
It seems simple, but if you're trying to handle everything else, you might not be thinking, hey, maybe I should only have one package type out before I fill that, and then go to the next package type for the larger orders.
I mean, I tend to be pretty OCD about stuff like that, but it's only because
I couldn't tell based on how organized your comic books are.
Yeah, well, I did clean up for this podcast.
Thank you.
But yes, I'm sitting in a room full of chronologically, alphabetically, numerically organized items. So, but it gets confusing, and it costs you time. If you have a bunch of different packages and you've got everything out, including stuff that's not going in any of them, that doesn't make any sense to me. So it's like to keep it simple. And, another important part of it for me is just budgeting my time. And, we wear a lot of hats, as I'm sure a lot of your listeners do. Anybody that's running their own business wears a lot of hats. For me, in order to get through the shipping, I have to just lay down the law and be like, okay, I'm not answering emails today. I'm not working on music today. I'm not dealing with anything else. I got to go into shipping mode. It's easy to get distracted. Like I said, if you run your own business, you're probably getting bombarded with emails and lots of different things all the time.
Yeah, generally that is a hard time. You got to block out time. So when you have a big drop going on or a Kickstarter that you've got to get out, generally, how much time do you spend doing shipping? I know this is going to scale for people because he's shipping like hundreds all at once.
I mean, I estimated that it was like 20 full work days for me. But that's because some of our packages were so incredibly complicated. The ones that we were charging $85 and up for, I mean, they had like 15 different items in them. Every individual person could select any combination of items to be autographed or not autographed, and then add personalization. So as I'm going down the line, I'm looking at the individual order, and maybe I have to add a note, a personal autograph or something. But yeah, it was like 20 days. Now that included like 2 days of just folding up those custom printed boxes. So I did that all ahead of time, right? Because we got, I think 700 of those orders had the custom printed boxes.
Gosh.
They shipped flat. And so I just took what I thought would be a day and turned into 2 days to just fold all those boxes up and have them ready. But then they're ready when I go to the assembly line part.
Would it have been beneficial to have had somebody, of course, if there was no coronavirus, had somebody come in on like a contract basis to put together some of the low effort items, like putting the boxes together?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you have the margin for it, I mean, we're a heavy metal band, an old school metal band in the year 2021. So we don't have the margin to hire somebody to do that. But yeah, that's a real low effort thing that could have been easily handled. Another one would have just been literally taking the packages to the post office.
That would have saved you time.
Now, U.S. Postal Service will actually come to your house and pick up the packages. But since we've been in the pandemic, I've taken the opportunity to get out of the house once a day and go take my stuff to the post office. But if you're really in a time crunch or it's a logistical issue for you, just know that you can set up those pickups with the U.S. Postal Service directly. They'll come to you.
Have you ever considered doing drop shipping? Since your products aren't actually handmade, they're actually professionally made.
Mm-hmm. No, because of the autographs.
Oh, that's mainly. Right. So they do need it be handmade, as it were.
Yeah, but I mean, also I have the time to do it myself. But it's part of our business model, really, is that I do it myself. That people get the personal touch. Every order is packed by a member of the band. That's what we always tell them. We don't tell them that it's always me, but it is always packed by a member of the band. And then I can throw in a personal note when I want to. So no, we haven't done that yet, although we may need to. If we get, we had about, like I said, about 700 orders on Kickstarter, and then another several hundred from our website. And if we get much above that, we're going to have to change model a little bit.
That's a massive amount, especially for somebody that's hand doing everything.
Yeah, doing it from home is a challenge. Finding the space for the merchandise and the packaging is a challenge. We don't have the space to keep everything close together. So what I'll do is I'll pull, what I think is enough for a couple of weeks, or at least as much as will fit near my office, near my shipping area. And I'll pull enough merch and enough packing supplies to last me a couple of weeks, so that when I do need to go ship, I know where everything is and it's close together. Because, you're walking around, if you have to take an extra 20 steps to get somewhere and you're doing hundreds of packages, that adds up.
So have you ever thought about getting a storage facility to put the extra packaging, or is that not worth the extra expense?
We did, but we found it just wasn't worth it. No, we have space in the cellar here, but like I can't keep everything in the cellar, because if I had to walk down to the cellar for every order, that would take forever, right? So I've got the bulk of it down in the cellar and 1 or 2 weeks supply upstairs, and then I just replenish every once in a while, just to try and keep it efficient.
So basically, if you have that much packaging going out, you need to find somewhere to put the bulk of it, somewhere safe and dry to put the bulk of what you need, and then just keep, like you said, a couple of weeks worth out, or what's reasonable for the space you have it available for you to easily grab and then place down when you're, as it were, production packaging.
Yeah. And also think ahead as far as what type of space you have available and what things are in the environment that might affect your merchandise. So dryness or humidity is a big factor. So we have items that I know we're going to autograph eventually. So you'd think that we would not pay to have them shrink wrapped, because removing the shrink wrap is just an extra step. But we'll typically get most of our runs of merchandise shrink wrap, just to protect them from the humidity, so I can store them in the cellar here. And then another big thing for us up here is cat hair. Honestly, it's funny, and like sometimes I'll post about it on social media, like this person's getting free bonus cat hair with their
harvested off of the band's very own cats.
Yeah, but if you can keep wherever you're keeping your merch clean, or keep it so your animals are away from it, or at least like I have to do a vacuum of all the surfaces because the cats walk around on these tables. So it's funny, but like when I have to lint roll a t-shirt, like before
you mail it out,
yeah, it takes time,
Yeah, actually, sewers have a lot of problems with that, because a lot of them do have cats. Strangely enough, I don't. But yeah. If you're selling a garment, you probably don't want allergens to be attached to a garment that you're shipping out.
No, I mean, also just on a psychological level, I don't think you want your customers opening up a new item and seeing hair on it.
Yeah, that's like getting a soup and having a hair sticking out in a restaurant. It's clean. It's fine.
That bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're trying to present a professional look on the packaging if you're shipping it out.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
wow,
let me just interject here for a second. I know I disappeared for a while and my sound is probably all over the place.
No, it's fine.
I'm also have this crazy thing on my head because we are having record low temperatures. The internet and the electricity goes in and out. It's like 10 degrees outside. We have 6 inches of snow, and I live in Texas. It's insane.
I was just going to ask if you were in Texas. I've been hearing about the craziness.
So did y'all cover pirate ship? I missed it.
No, we haven't got to that yet. He's kind of answered all the questions, but we'll reiterate. So what systems do you use for shipping labels?
So we use Pirate Ship. That's who we buy our postage from.
How do you print the labels?
I have a 4x6 label printer, which is, on the two biggest things I can tell people. The first thing I learned was do not mess around with cheap packing tape. Cheap packing tape that splits, like, wasted so much time. You think you're like being the smart business person by buying the cheapest packing tape, and it was such a headache. So for the last 9 years, I've been buying like Duck brand, like slightly more expensive packing tape, and I've been super happy. And you end up using less of it anyway because it's thicker. but it saves a ton of time because it doesn't split. So get the good packing tape and a tape gun. And then number 2 is, I'm sure everybody's heard the thing about how inkjet ink is one of the most expensive substances on Earth. Get you a laser label printer. Get you some. We use a 4x6 Rollo brand printer. It's ROLLO, although there are other brands. It takes stacks of 500 4x6 labels, and it just shoots them out super fast. And the best part is there's no ink. So the printer cost me about $200. And I mean, depending on how much your ink cartridges cost for your inkjet, I mean, it paid for itself in like one album cycle for us. So I wouldn't waste any time. Just get one. Get a laser 4x6 label printer. And that'll work with all the big shipping or all the big postage sites, USPS, eBay, and we use Pirate Ship. So that's the service we use to buy our postage, and that has been great too. It allows you to upload spreadsheets, and we can print hundreds of labels in one shot, which saves a ton of time. They have discounts below the regular USPS prices. I think the domestic discounts are about the same as eBay if anybody uses eBay or PayPal. So they have that negotiated discount off the postage. So definitely you don't want to buy your postage direct from the U.S. Postal Service because you're just paying more for no reason. Pirate Ship is a free service, by the way. They make their money off their negotiated deal with the U.S. Postal Service. And then for international shipments, if you do any bulk of international shipments, you can contact Pirate Ship for an additional discount. They have something they call their simple export rate. And that has saved us a ton of money. I mean, that's like, $3, $4, $5 off of each package going overseas sometimes. So that's it. We upload to Pirate Ship, print out through a Rollo laser printer onto 4x6 fanfold labels, and that's worked fantastically for us. The other thing about Pirate Ship is it's super easy to look up previous orders, and at the end of the year for taxes, I can just get a simple report that shows exactly how much I spent on postage for the calendar year.
So I have a question about your printer. Is it, when it eventually runs out of that laser, it's not ink, but whatever it is, do you replace it or do you have to replace the whole printer?
No, it's just heat. So it never runs out of anything. Eventually, I guess it would break down and then you'd need to replace it. But because it's just heat, it should never run out of anything. So I've been using this one for 3+ years, probably, 2,000 to 3,000 labels, and it's going fine.
Toner's the word I was looking for. But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's no toner, which is where the money savings comes in.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember when you got that, you posted on your Facebook group, because they have a band Facebook group, and he was all very excited.
I mean, it's pretty cool. If you've monkeyed with inkjet labels before,
yeah,
you see how slowly they come out, and sometimes they get caught up on, and they're jammed,
or sometimes it fades. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're just to see these 4x6 labels shooting out of this thing super fast will make anybody that has to ship happy.
You'll be ship happy.
Yep.
Shappy.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you keep track of the addresses versus items to put in the package? Because I know you were saying that a lot of them are customized, like how many items, what items they want put in, whether they want it customized or with autographs.
Well, that's another good thing about Pirate Ship, actually. Now, on a super complicated package, if it's coming from Kickstarter, I'll leave the Kickstarter backend open on a web browser. So I might need to walk over to my computer and look at it as I'm packing, or I'll try and memorize it. I'll be like a waiter, take a look at the page. Okay, I need a large shirt. The CD's autographed, the comic book's not, the deluxe book is. Try and memorize that, go pack the package. But with Pirate Ship, they have something they call rubber stamps. So you can add up to 3 extra pieces of information besides the addresses. So if let's say I'm packing a tier of packages that includes a T-shirt and a CD and a comic book, I can use those 3 tiers to put the shirt size, whether the CD is autographed or not, or whether the comic is autographed or not. And then I don't need to look at the screen. I can just look at the label and it tells me. So that's super convenient.
We need to get sponsorship from Pirate Ship. Josh needs to get a sponsorship.
They're great. I mean, I think they're doing pretty well. My only fear is that they'll lose their like deal with the USPS and I'll have to figure something else out. But I recommend them to everybody I talk to.
Yeah, you need a sponsorship from them.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of sponsorship, completely off topic. I know that your band has gotten deals to have like some of your music played on some TV shows.
Oh yeah, well, Riverdale twice. That was pretty cool. We were the tattoo shop background music in one episode, and
I could not see how that would fit in possibly.
It was perfect actually because I think one was we were playing in a comic book store.
That's appropriate.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That's I think Josh's other goal, by the way, is to open a comic book store.
Yes. And then a few weeks later, we were in another episode and they played our music in a tattoo shop. And we just got asked if we could use one of our songs in the political ad in Catalonia in Spain. So we're going to be on TV in Catalonia in the political ad.
By the way, if you don't know, the viral music video that they had, El Segadores, is I want to say anthem of Catalonia. So that's one of the provinces in Spain.
Yeah, it's like basically their national anthem.
Not for Spain in its entirety. It's for Catalonia itself, right?
For Catalonia, right. It's like deep in the heart of Texas for Catalonia.
We actually have an anthem. It's called Texas Our Texas.
We do too in Hawaii. It's actually in Hawaiian.
All right, so it's that.
Yeah. I don't know if all states have it. They might. They just not, super proudly played.
I mean, like in 4th grade, we learn about like our flag and our song and our flower and there's like a whole list of things. Yes.
That will help you get a job in the future. Quick, what's the state flower of Texas?
The bluebonnet?
You don't know, you're not going to get a job. You're not going to get a job. Oh, you
only
are
teaching
hired,
the important stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the member questions, which we've kind of already covered, but I want to give a shout out for them for asking. So Tia Fearington asks, what do you think of Pirate Ship?
Love them. Absolutely love them. Yeah, I think we covered that.
Yeah, we covered it ad nauseum.
Yeah. So but the important thing is that it's fast, convenient, it saves you money, and there's no charge for it, which is great.
It saves you time, which is very short on supply. Okay.
Yep.
Sarah Floyd asks, what should a small-time shipper get? She's asking about like what type of packaging, shipping label holders. I'm not quite sure what a shipping label holder is because I don't ship a lot of stuff. A scale, for example.
Sure. You definitely want to have a scale, and the scale should last a long time. So just assume you're going to eventually need to do bigger packages than you might think. So the first scale I bought is still working for me because I can do I just did a 70-pound wholesale package on it the other day. So just get one good scale. And then for a holder, well, I use the fan fold labels. So those just sit in a stack. So you don't need any kind of holder for them. They sit right on my desk. The 4x6 labels also come in a spool that you do need a holder for, and they roll out. But for me, the fan folds have worked fine. And if anything, it's easier to store your extras because they're in like a rectangle shape instead of like rolls. Either way, but I found the fan fold ones are fine. And then, like I said, whatever type of packaging you're using, you probably are going to need the clear packing tape. So I recommend don't go cheap on that, because everybody's done the thing where you have to find the end of the tape and try and use your fingernail to get the end of the tape off the roll, and sometimes it splits and you just want to murder the roll of tape. Like, don't mess around with that. If you get the good tape, you won't have to deal with that.
Mind you, Josh is a guitarist, so he has like no fingernails.
Yeah, they're super short.
Because he's got to be able to riff. Okay, so that's it for the member questions. Brandon, should we go into our 4 questions?
We should before I lose internet again.
Yes. So Brandon, take it away.
All right, Josh, what is your and I kind of think we might have already covered this, but what is your favorite time-saving tip?
Well, I like the assembly line method. So that's for me is just, make a list, just pre-plan. Honestly, pre-planning is the most important thing. If you're a disorganized person, which sometimes I can be, just force yourself, figure out what you're going to need, have it all there. And if you need to order stuff in advance, because honestly, the biggest time waster for me is like, if I can't finish a package because I'm missing a part of it or I'm missing the box, that's a huge time waster. And then it also adds to your disorganization. I have a half finished package sitting in the corner with a sticky note on it, waiting for whatever I'm waiting on. So just pre-planning, and also eliminating the inkjet. Get rid of the inkjet.
Chuck it out the window. I mean, don't actually chuck it out the window because that's littering and your window might break.
And it's 10 degrees outside.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
So how do you price things? It's going to be a little different compared to somebody who's actually hand making something.
Sure. Well, a lot of it is just the market and kind of what the market will bear. And we're in an unusual situation because people are aware of how tough the music business is. And so they're not just buying our product, they're also patronizing our art. So, we know we can price things, maybe a little higher than we would if we had to compete like in a retail store or something. We need people to buy our records for $35 because a bunch of other people, many times more people will listen to it for free on Spotify,
Right. Because I think your YouTube had like 1.5 million views.
Yeah, that translated to $500 of streaming income.
Streaming income. Woo,
and
exciting.
Yeah, most of the actual income that we got from that were from the very small percentage of those people who went to our Kickstarter and supported the Kickstarter. But as far as pricing, the most important thing I can say is plan ahead. And every year the USPS increases its rates. So you got to be aware of when the rate increase is coming, know exactly how much your packages are going to weigh. And in some cases, your postage will be based on the volume or the dimensions of the package. So you want to figure all of that out in advance. And if you're offering something as a pre-order or in any way that you're taking payment and shipping later, you got to make sure that you're not pricing your postage based on the old rates, but you're going to have to buy it after the new rates hit. So just be real conscientious about figuring out how much everything is going to weigh, the volume of the packages, and what the rates are going to be.
And that's a really good tip. And so also when those shipping rates do go up, even if you're not having people prepay, but just be aware of when that happens and maybe reflect that in your prices or in your shipping prices on your website.
Yeah, and always check every package that you might possibly be shipping. Check that domestically and to Canada, which is its own separate rate, and then internationally. So for instance, we got dinged once because with the rate change, any package over 4 pounds going internationally, suddenly it had to go priority mail international, which is like double the cost. So we had packages that we had charged $35 shipping for that all of a sudden were going to cost like $70. So we ended up splitting those packages into 2 boxes that we could ship 2 boxes at First Class International for cheaper than we could send 1 for priority. But if we had known the rate increase was coming, that was a time we didn't do our due diligence, and also we grew our project and the package weight went up. That was the other thing.
Yeah, so here's a tip: don't grow don't make your products more fancy.
Right. Well, if you do, just know that you might be getting yourself you have shipping implications for that.
Actually, I had something that I had to ship out to Wisconsin, and if it was like 4 ounces less in weight, it would have costed me $7 to ship. But because it was just over the limit, it was like a pound and a half. Mm-hmm. It was $17 to ship. Yeah,
that's one of the big cutoffs that we try to watch is first class package versus priority mail. If for standard retail, if you go into the U.S. Postal Service website or post office, the cutoff is 13 ounces. If you use Pirate Ship, they have a deal where the cutoff is 16 ounces.
Oh, I wish I'd known about that.
Yeah. But there's a big price jump between first class and priority right now. So if you have a product you can squeeze in as a first class package, definitely try to do that.
All right. So again, I think we've covered this pretty extensively, but maybe not directly related to shipping, maybe something with what you do on social media or something like that. Mm-hmm. What do you automate?
What do we automate? Well, on our website, the shipping, the postage charges that we charge are automated. So we just enter the product weight. So if people combine items in their cart, that automatically calculates the total weight, and we'll charge based on the postal rates at that time. And then we can add, like, for instance, we'll add $1 to the postage cost as a handling fee to cover the cost of the box. And then the labels and the tape and those little things add up a couple cents per package, but you want to try and have those covered too, if you can.
Out of curiosity, this is not the question, but what web service do you use that allows you to do that?
We use a service called Bandzoogle, which is super convenient. I take it, it's kind of like Squarespace, where it's a kind of a block-based build your own website service. Bandzoogle has tools for musicians built in, so we can add a download shop so people can see our albums with the cover art, preview the songs, and then we can attach physical merchandise to the album specifically. But it's $20 a month, and it gives us unlimited products. It does the payment processing for us, and super convenient. So I don't see any reason why someone couldn't use it for any other type of website. Just because it has the tools for musicians doesn't mean it wouldn't work for something else.
I'm completely asking for myself because I need to get a website up for my products because it's all digital. Mm-hmm. So it's downloads.
Yeah, this would probably work for downloads.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because we can add digital products on our store. Like, we have a digital copy of our graphic novel, which is just a PDF file. And also we sell a digital copy of our live concert Blu-ray, which is a much larger file. So wow. Yeah, I think you could probably use it for whatever you wanted.
I will look into it. So the best question, where can people find you?
Well, we are at ASOT Band on Twitter and Instagram. We're most active on Facebook, where we're facebook.com/asoundofthunder. And our main website is asoundofthunderband.com. And for most people, if you just want to listen to us for free, just go to Spotify and look up A Sound of Thunder under artist. We named ourselves after the Ray Bradbury short story, which we thought was a great idea. Later on, we found out that if you put in A Sound of Thunder on Google, it brings up a lot of rain sounds and tends to bring up The Delicate Sound of Thunder by Pink Floyd. But if you put in A Sound of Thunder Band on Google, you can find us. You can link to us on Spotify or Apple Music. But yeah, we're on all the music streaming services. And also we have a couple of really cool animated music videos on YouTube. If you put in Sound of Thunder Band on YouTube. But you can just link to all this through our website, all the music and other services and videos and everything that's on our main website.
He's everywhere. Just look for the band name. And I think you and Nina have a podcast-ish.
We do. We're doing it in seasons, so we're off right now.
That's what we're doing too.
Yeah, it was a little too much to do while I had to get all the shipping done for this album. But the podcast is called Thunder Stuff, Thunder-Stuff, Heavy Metal Podcast. And Nina, the singer of our band, Nina and I have a really good rapport. And so we just kind of go through the heavy metal news and make fun of people that deserve to be made fun of, and make fun of ourselves, and talk about music and sometimes politics and morality and
whatever strikes your fancy,
whatever needs to be talked about.
So if you like metal and you're a sewer, go ahead and listen to their podcast while you're
can listen to while you sew. Yes.
I think we did 16 episodes in season 1. So we'll have another season coming up later this year. But there's a bunch of them up there, and those are on all the big sites too: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc.
Okay, well, thank you, Josh. This is Josh Schwartz from A Sound of Thunder. He's talking about how to ship massive amounts of packages from his house. So this is Kathleen from Sunny Mountain Patterns and Brian Lynn from Daily Sews and Stuff. Thanks for listening to the Small Business Sewing Podcast. Okay, bye.
Woohoo.